let me take you next to our next guest, good friend of the program, just overall great guy. Kirk Cameron is on with us, actor, producer. He is with Brave Books, and it's now braveplus.com. And they launched something yesterday that he was on this program talking about, I don't even know, 6 months ago maybe. And he was talking about Iggy and Mr. Kirk, which is kind of a Mr. Rogers for modern day. And it talks about the basic principles. It teaches us to our little kids, self-control, honesty, putting others first, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that Mr. Rogers did. Welcome, Kirk Cameron. How are you?
Glenn, it's so good to talk to you this morning. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we're so excited. Iggy has landed, and kids all over America are so excited. And I'm doing my best to honor Mr. Rogers with this new kids TV show.
How old do you know? I meant to look this up before you came on. Do you know how old Mr. Rogers was when he started compared to your age now? I don't either. But either. He had years and years. Stu, look that up for me, will you? He had years and years in front of kids, raising kids, and became this just beloved figure. And I remember, he started, I don't know. I don't even know if he was around when I was a kid. I'm sure he was because it was all black and white, the early stuff. But I only found Mr. Rogers when I was older, and I'm like, wow, this is weird. Because now, in looking back, nobody was that nice. Now you suspect people that are that nice and so sweet.
Right.
But that guy was truly an amazing hero, a godly man, and really a respected guy by everybody.
He was 40, by the way, Glenn. 40 years old.
He was 40? Mm-hmm. How old are you, Kirk?
I'm 54.
54.
Yeah.
So he was 40 years old when he started this. And to step into kind of a little bit of his shoes must be a little intimidating.
It is. And, in this show for kids, we're teaching clear moral lessons like he did, like forgiveness, lessons on telling the truth, lessons on overcoming your fears. We're even diving into cultural and political issues. We're teaching children about the dangers of socialism and about the sanctity of life. We're even having an episode, number 4 it is, on identity. And Mr. Rogers didn't really need to talk about some of those things back in his day, but today we've got Disney's Snow White, and we've got Nickelodeon and other shows that are introducing stuff like, non-binary Big Birds, and we've got all sorts of crazy stuff that kids are trying to wrestle with. So we need to address these issues in a way that's safe for kids, that parents trust, and that also ignites those little imaginations for the good and imparts virtue and faith. And that's what we're doing.
I had horrible pain in my hands. I had a hard time moving them. I could barely work with them. I couldn't write or type or anything. I tried everything. Then I found Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free supplement developed by doctors, and it's safe to take daily. It made a real impact for me and so many others. Try their 3-week quick start now, $19.95 at relieffactor.com. We're pumping so much garbage into our systems. I've heard you talk about, it's like food, but it's true. We're pumping garbage food into us and expecting our bodies to work. We're putting garbage drugs into our bodies and thinking it's going to work out well, and garbage into our minds, and it's not going to work out well unless we turn this corner.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm actually really thankful for all of the weird, woke, and twisted things that have come down, because in a sense, it's the wake-up call we've needed. And now parents are leaning in, they're waking up, they're speaking up, and there's an opportunity with so many things going on politically in the country with Trump and Doge and all these other things, where all of a sudden these government top-down institutions are now going to be drained to a degree, and there is a need for parents and communities and churches to work at the grassroots level to provide better alternatives. And so I think the timing of this is perfect. I'm so excited. It could be the most important project I've done, and it's available everywhere for everybody to see. If you've got kids or grandkids and you want to nourish their hearts and minds when they are in the middle of screen time, just check out Iggy and Mr. Kirk, and it's on Brave Plus, the app on your TV, or braveplus.com.
And it's not the only thing. Don't you have like Strawberry Shortcake? I'm trying to look. You had a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Strawberry Shortcake. Bob the Builder is on there as well. So it's all it's all these great character building shows.
Yeah, that's right. That's what's really cool about Brave Plus. We're not waiting for Disney to pick up the Clue phone and figure out the stuff that parents actually want and can trust.
Yeah.
They've created their own streaming platform and really high standards. So if it's overstimulating, that's as bad for your kids as processed foods. If it's not underlining good, moral, traditional American and godly values, it doesn't make the cut. But there's over 50 shows on there. And you can watch the first 3 episodes of my new show, Iggy and Mr. Kirk, for free. If you want to watch the rest, we've got a whole season complete, along with 50 other shows, like you said, Bob the Builder, Strawberry Shortcake, Madeline, so many great shows there that are safe without a second thought, and your kids are going to love them.
So let's can we just go through, because I really want parents or grandparents that have little kids to understand what you're doing, because this is so important. We have to rebuild education from the ground up, and entertainment, that you can actually feel comfortable in leaving the room for 5 minutes, and your kids aren't going to be coming back and speaking a language that you're like, wait a minute, you're confused in your own body. What? So can we just go over the first couple of episodes? First one is Injured Bird. The lesson there is.
Yeah, this is Injured Bird. This is all about the sacredness of life, all life, including unborn life. And Iggy is essentially really upset at this bird that has snuck into his treehouse and is stealing all of his worms. He wants to go fishing, and the bird is stealing his bait. What he doesn't know is that this is a mama bird who's collecting worms because the little chicks in her eggs in the nest are about to hatch. And he learns that these little lives inside these eggs are precious, and he's got to learn to take care of them. But then the episode continues on to value disabled life and elderly life. And so it's a whole show about the sanctity of all life.
What an appropriate first episode.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. And then episode number 4 is dealing with identity. And in the middle of it, Mr. Kirk, that's the Mr. Rogers character, reads to Iggy, the little adorable green iguana, a book called Elephants Are Not Birds. And this is a show about identity, where culture, the vulture, tries to deceive Iggy into thinking that if he were somebody else, if he was someone other than what God made him to be, he would be liked and loved more by his family and friends. And so we have this whole show helping Iggy to discover that God made him just the way he is, and that when he embraces who he is, then he can fulfill the purpose that God has given him.
Have you have you seen any of the research on this, or talked to any of the viewers and discovered something that you didn't know was going to be a benefit of this, or something that you were surprised by? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't even think of that, but I'm so glad this is happening with the audience.
Well, more and more data is coming out that is showing that children's brains are negatively impacted by most of the children's programming coming out. Because at the end of the day, just like junk food is designed to be cheap and addictive, and most children's shows are the same way. Kids are staring like zombies at the screen because they've been designed to addict them through non-diegetic sounds that are put in post-production. It's not part of the world they're actually looking at, with flashing lights and jump cuts every 2 to 3 seconds. It's a literal brain hack on your kids to keep them glued to the screen. And they say 9 minutes of that has measurable negative impact on their cognitive development. And so we're going the opposite way, back to Mr. Rogers, where we take our time and we lean into relationships and develop trust and impart virtue the old-fashioned way.
How difficult was that to do? Because, everybody in the media, they didn't start out, well, some of them probably did, but they didn't start out with nefarious purpose. They were just like, we got to get these kids to watch the show. How are we going to do it? Well, if we add this and this. And now to go the opposite and say, we don't want to use any of those tricks, that had to be a little scary.
Yeah, it was, but it's like you, Glenn. You're a guy who says, no, my bottom line is I want to do the right thing.
Right.
By God and by my family. I want to love people. I want to champion what's good and true and beautiful. And at the end of the day, that's why I like working with Brave Books. Is that's really their bottom line. Their company, they don't want to go bankrupt. They want to make money, but more than that, this was an eye doctor who dropped that business to become the CEO of a book publishing company and now a whole media company because he's got kids and nobody else is doing it. So that's why we're doing it the way that we're doing it. Yeah, it's scary, but at the end of the day, I've got to answer for everything that I'm a part of.
Kirk, I'm so proud to be your friend and to see what you guys are doing and what Brave is doing. I just think there's just nothing more important than beginning the journey that is going to be a very long journey and generational journey, but beginning the journey right now to put things back in order. It's the most important thing anybody can do, and especially with anything on education. And I know you know this, but anything I can do, whatever I have is yours. You just tell me how we can help, because you're doing God's work, and you're helping save not just the country, civilization. You're helping save civilization. So thank you.
Well, you're so kind. You always put wind in my sails, amazingly so. And you're an inspiration to so many of us. So, Glenn, thank you very much. God bless you, and keep up the great work.
I want you to go to braveplus.com. That's braveplus.com. If you have children, grandchildren, somebody that is, has young children, this is so important, and it will help your kids. We got to stop with the Sesame Street stuff. We have to. It's the stuff that is being taught now to our kids so early is absolute poison, and it's not what we grew up with. You can look at all these things and say, well, but I was fine. It's a different world now. It's a totally different world, and these are not the Jim Henson lessons that we used to get as kids. And I'm not against progress. I'm very progressive in the right ways. I believe in future. I believe in making new things and cutting edge and everything else. But we cannot disregard all of the things that have worked for centuries. The truth works. And Kirk is doing a yeoman's job here along with Brave. So go to braveplus.com. You can see the first 3 episodes free, but share it with all of your friends. braveplus.com. braveplus.com.